I'm right here. I'm right here. Hello, it's me. Oh my god, dude, I overslept. Stream has ended, what do you mean? Okay, there we go. Dude, it was horrible. Alright, real quick, this is not the time I wanted to start the stream at. I wanted to start the stream 2 hours, no, an hour ago. I meant to wake up 2 hours ago. An hour and a half, actually. So basically, 2 hours ago. Dude, I feel so fucking bad. I forgot to set my alarm for like 2:30 my time. I very quickly got something in my stomach though. I was a little rumbly. Fuck! Oh, it's great. I love that. Yes. I am a lazy piece of shit. What? I'll put something in your mouth. Keep whatever that is out my mouth. Oh. Alright. So I'm gonna have to probably blaze through a bunch of my topics today. I wanted to like settle on some of them for a little bit and at least talk mildly. Alright. Alright, so what are we talking about? What are we talking about? Oh. I got in touch with what's it? Legal Mindset about the something that's happening with Florida right now. So we'll talk about that in a little bit. That's gonna probably be the wrap up of the show. And I've got something coming in pretty soon. It's a little project I was thinking about, and I realized I could do something similar. It'll probably be my first video uploads rather than live streams, because I kind of want to put some production value behind this. And I'll tell you that, I'll talk about that later. However, right now we need to get into the topics because I have an hour and a half before I need to start making my food for work, and I need to move my ass. Alright, so the first topic would be, in the string of the mundane things that you could get killed over or shot for, someone shooting their gun in the backyard and you asking them to like maybe relax a little bit would be the last thing on your list of reasons why you could get killed. It happened. In fact, 5 people died because of this. The Iowa relaxing child labor laws. I should say Iowa looks to relax, but I didn't think it had enough room in the headline. And Lord Lightfoot is making a plea to Abbot. Holy shit. And then a couple more. Probably something to do with that, something to do with Florida. Relaxing its standards on death sentences. So yeah, we need to blaze through this stuff, like, at a rapid pace. And we'll get started. Center. There we go. I forgot to put my banner back up. Holy shit. Minimum wage discriminates against low skill workers. Well, I mean, should a 14 or 15-year-old be making a little bit more than minimum wage, though? I'm not saying it might be bad, it's just kind of a curiosity. But anyway, I just want to point out for a moment, I know it's not him, but this guy kind of looks in a way like Tim Pool, doesn't he? Why does this guy look like Tim Pool? I guess that's fair. A 14 or 15-year-old should be able to make more than minimum wage depending on their skill. Yeah. 200 officers are in a manhunt for the Texas suspect accused of killing his 5 neighbors. Authorities are offering $80,000 for information. I don't think I could catch this guy because how far away is Cleveland, Texas? It's like, it's got to be like southern Texas. Yeah, that's like near Houston. Face isn't round enough, nose is too big, and he's way darker, except in that particularly overexposed photo. Well, mostly based on this photo. It kind of looks like a more like chiseled, or I guess defined temple to me. The similarities are there somewhat. I'm not saying it's an exact match, it's just, you know, the similarities exist. More than 200 officers from multiple law enforcement agencies are searching for the gunman accused of shooting and killing 5 people, including a 9-year-old child, at Cleveland, Texas home after neighbors asked him to stop firing his rifle outdoors, officials said Sunday. This guy is the reason why I got into a huge fucking argument. I hate this guy. Those officers are going door to door and asking community members for information, while authorities are also creating billboard posters in Spanish to inform everyone to search. San Jacinto County Sheriff Greg Cappers said in Sunday afternoon news conference. And there's now also a collective $80,000 reward being offered for information that leads to the suspect's arrest. FBI Houston Special Agent in charge James Smith announced in the news conference. Francisco Oropesa, 38, is accused of killing 4 adults and a 9-year-old boy at a neighboring home Friday night in the city of Cleveland, about 40 miles northeast of downtown Houston. Investigators initially started tracking Oropesa using a cell phone, but said the trail went cold Saturday evening, and he could now be anywhere. We don't have any tips right now to where he may be, and that's why we've come up with this reward. So that hopefully somebody out there can call us, Smith said at Sunday's news conference. I can pretty much guarantee you he's contacted some of his friends, Smith said, adding, we just don't know what friends they are and that's what we need from the public. Is any type of information, because right now we're running into dead ends. In a Twitter post earlier Sunday, the FBI warned the suspect is armed and dangerous and urging anyone who saw Oropesa not to approach him. The U.S. has suffered at least 184 mass shootings in the first 4 months of this year, in the first 4 months of this year, according to Gun Violence Archives, the nonprofit like CNN defined mass shootings as those which 4 or more people are shot, not including the shooter. Then the home turned in, how the massacre unfolded. I really just wanted to get the news update portion of it. It's fucking tragic and awful that it led to the killing of a 9-year-old kid. No. No. At some point, doorbell camera at the home of the victims captured the suspect approaching with his rifle, Capers said. Why? Man. I am too. I hate this guy. They've been searching for a few days. If he's on foot, there's a chance he's probably moved up to the Fort Worth, Dallas area. Wouldn't that be fucking grand? Should have built a big... Yeah. Probably. That would have probably helped. I'm gonna save the Iowa topic for later, because I know I can get that done pretty quickly. So, Lori Lightfoot. Moving away from immigrant killers who slave 5 and to immigrants who inconvenience Chicago's mayor. Mayor Lightfoot says Chicago tapped out of resources as marchers call for help for immigrants. Who would have fucking thought having a steady flow of immigrants come into your home or come to your town without any kind of supervision or tracking was a way to lose all your resources? Mayor Lori Lightfoot has urged Texas Governor Abbot to stop sending migrants to Chicago, but more are expected to arrive at any time. Oh, this is this is a beautiful thing, isn't it? I love this so much. In the past week, the state of Texas has sent more than 200 people a day to Chicago. I did not expect to hear anything back, but I felt like it was important to once again try to engage the governor. Also, let him know what his policies and practices are doing to cities like Chicago. Lori, if you truly cared, take it up with with Congress, take it up with the president. They could help. They could stop this. Lightfoot sent a letter Sunday to Governor Abbott urging him to not send any more migrants, writing, "I am yet again appealing to your better nature and asking you to stop this inhumane and dangerous action." Monday morning, Lightfoot appeared on CNN and said, "We're completely tapped out. We have no more space, no more resources, and frankly, we're already in a surge. We've been seeing over the last week, 2 to 3 weeks, 200 plus people coming to Chicago every single day." Wow. I can't not laugh. It's like them getting their comeuppance. Anyone who decried against closing the borders in lots of ways probably never had to deal with a border crisis. So, we just gave them a border crisis without the border. Mayor Lightfoot said the city is at capacity and struggling to provide shelters for those who are already here. Since the crisis began months ago, Governor J.B. Pritzker said the state has given the city more than $150 million to help pay for housing, food, and health care. After an additional appropriation in January, Pritzker said state resources are stressed and has spoken to President Biden about getting more federal dollars. They're helping push the money from FEMA to states, but it isn't enough, Pritzker said. Marchers in support of immigration gathered at Union Park Monday morning calling for more help from federal government. They marched from Union Park to the Federal Plaza to demand more action for immigration reform, including help for the immigrants. This is a humanitarian crisis. This is about 800 million%. What? There's about $800 million of federal government funding that is not being allocated to the city of Chicago, despite having over 8,000 refugees right now, said 25th Ward Alderman Byron Sigcho Lopez. Holy fuck. Sigcho Lopez. Migrants, some pregnant and nursing sick children, are huddled on the floors of police station lobbies right now. If we don't put the humanity of these migrants front and center, I understand. And solely, if we don't put the humanity of these migrants front and center, I understand, and I am solely compassionate to the fact that the border are themselves really overrun, Lightfoot said. But you don't solve the problem by simply sticking people on the bus to a city and that they did not ask to come for an uncertain future, and now we are literally full. I mean, if everybody understands the problem, I think we solved the problem. Lightfoot also said nearly all the migrants who arrived in Chicago were in dire need of food, water, and clothing, adding that many needed extensive medical care. She also said some migrants were in active labor and some were victims of sexual assault. None of these urgent needs were addressed in Texas, Lightfoot said. It said these individuals and families were packed onto buses and shipped across the country like freight without regard to their personal circumstance. Officials estimate Chicago will need more than $20 million a month just through June to support the influx of migrants, while $800 million of federal money from FEMA has been earmarked for the migrant crisis nationwide. None of it has been dispersed to Chicago yet. The group also delivered a letter to Senator Dick Durbin to better address his migrant crisis. Lightfoot's full letter to Abbot. I mean, it sucks a little bit, but they're not getting a better picture, at least. You know, much like much like the upper states, I kind of have the privilege of not having to deal with a border crisis, at least immediately. I'm within the state, but there's so much land between me and the border in the state that I don't quite foresee dealing with the consequences in the large part. However, I am in favor of being more strict on the border because I know that it could affect me. I'm not some idiot fucking mayor of a city that's like, the migrants, we gotta help the migrants. Also, it's a little funny that she's now getting the migrants as they would have been received in Texas. If they want to address that issue, then they can have that issue. We don't have to deal with it. To Governor Greg Abbott, the city of Chicago is aware of this, that the state is planning to resume busing individuals and families to cities throughout the United States, including Chicago, starting Monday, May 1st. I'm yet again appealing to your better nature and asking that you stop this inhumane and dangerous action. Since we began responding to the arrival of migrants sent by your delegation in August 2022, we have shouldered the responsibility of caring for more than 8,000 men, women, and children with no resources of their own. That number continues to grow. Nearly all the migrants have been in dire need of food, water, and clothing, and many needed extensive medical care. Some of the individuals you placed on buses were women in active labor, and some were victims of sexual assault. None of these urgent needs were addressed in Texas. Instead, these individuals and families were packed into buses and shipped across the country like freight without regard to their personal circumstance. Chicago is a welcoming city, and we collaborate with county, state, and community partners to rise to this challenge, but your lack of consideration or coordination in an attempt to cause chaos and score political points has resulted in a critical tipping point in our ability to receive individuals and families in a safe, orderly, and dignified way. Lori, it's almost like that we don't have the resources or coordination with anybody to receive our immigrants. If the migrants you're receiving, Lightfoot, is in any way stressful or frustrating or seems like a chaotic mess, that's the problem that we've got. And I guess I'm so sorry you have to deal with that now. But now you understand. We have a border crisis. And we cannot resolve that without some help. And we're not really getting much of that from, the executive branch because, I don't know, Biden seems to want to keep the border open. Or at the very least, the progress to close it has been starting because I think they switched their tune lately. Almost none of the migrants get received and helped in a safe, orderly, or dignified way, Lightfoot. That just doesn't happen in lots of cases, Lori. We simply have no more shelters, no more spaces or resources to accommodate an increase of individuals at this level, with little coordination or care that does not pose a risk to them or others. I know by your actions that you either do not see or do not care about the trauma these migrants have already faced and continue to suffer under the humanitarian crisis you have created, but I beseech you anyway, treat these individuals with the respect and dignity that they deserve. To tell them to go to Chicago or to inhumanely bus them here is an inviolable and misleading choice. We didn't create the humanitarian crisis, we're just showing it to everybody else. Though unsympathetic to the significant challenges that the border cities face, the situation is completely untenable. The national immigration problem will not be solved by passing the responsibilities to other cities. Actually, it will. I'll continue calling on federal government for more resources and support, as well as much needed policy changes, just as I will call upon them to withhold all FEMA funding slated for Texas if chartered buses resumes coming to our city, but I would rather work with you than against you. Governor Abbott, this is not a state versus state or city versus city problem. The immigration crisis is a national challenge that requires the national collaboration. For the good of the country and individuals who are seeking to safety and refuge, let's work together to find a real solution, and that real solution will never be unilateral busing of migrants to cities like Chicago. So she wants to cut all FEMA funding for Texas as retaliation for her having to deal with our border crisis in her city. Lightfoot, get fucked, you fucking cunt. That is the most annoying bullshit I've ever heard. You're putting too much anime. You're putting too many immigrants on our doorstep. Oh, fucking hell. What was that? Alright, yeah. That's for later. Dude, these people are so fucking stupid. What the fuck did I just close? Oh yeah, sure, that is absolutely a porn tab. This news that says Representative AOC does not plan to run for Gillibrand's Senate seat in 2024. Yep, that's my news. Or that's my porn, yep. They're evil, not stupid. So AOC not to run for Senate in 2024. What a surprise, maybe. I don't know. I don't really I don't follow her, really. What the fuck? AOC, a Democrat in New York, and I reject. Hands right here. No jack in the AOC. I don't like her. AOC does not plan to challenge Senator Kirsten Gillibrand, another Democrat for New York, for her seat in the Senate, which is up for re-election in 2024. She's not planning to run for Senate in 2024. She's not planning to primary Gillibrand. Lauren Hitt, a spokesperson for Ocasio-Cortez, told Politico. Gillibrand announces her re-election campaign for a third term in January. Her seat is solidly Democratic in deep blue New York, which means a primary challenge from within the party could have effectively packed the seat's ultimate winner, or could have picked. Fuck. Ocasio-Cortez is one of the Democrats' party's highest profile progressives. After entering the House in 2019, the lawmaker has worked to push the party to the left and has openly criticized Democratic leaders such as former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, Democrat from California Chuck Schumer. Oh wait, no, Pelosi was the Democrat of California. I'm having a hard time. Okay? It's a momentary thing. I'll get better at it. Ocasio-Cortez also was the center of speculation in 2021 when she declined to say whether she would run a primary challenge against Schumer in 2022, when a seat was up for re-election. Ocasio-Cortez ultimately did not run against Schumer. What? That was the article? I thought this was gonna be a long article. God damn it. I'm in the locals chat. You can post the meme there. I will see it. Isn't that how Tim Pool does it? What? It don't slap as hard. I didn't realize that's how Tim Pool approached memes and photos. The moment is lost. You give up too soon. The moment is not lost. It's still here. You can do it. I'm stuck in the moment. I don't know if did I pick this? No, the show where you read articles. Ah, okay. That's fair. Second U.S.-led convoy evacuates private American citizens from Sudan conflict. Did we start this war? Is this a war that we have, or... Hold on. A second convoy of U.S. citizens organized... You rat bastard! Alright, I'll show it on stream. Copy image address. Yep. You rat bastard. I hate you. Mr. Poopy Butthole said, "This is me," right? This is me. I don't even have Tide Pods. I prefer another brand. I don't like Tide Pods. A second convoy of U.S. citizens organized by the U.S. government arrived in Port Sudan on Sunday as a part of an effort to evacuate Americans from the Sudan conflict. I thought it was cheese balls for a second. Fat. A second USG organized convoy arrived in Port Sudan today. We are assisting the U.S. citizens and others who are eligible with onward travel to Jeddah, where additional personnel are ready to assist with consular and emergency services, State Department spokesperson Matthew Miller said Sunday in a statement on Twitter. A fucking course we started it. A fucking course. What war do we not start, even indirectly, anymore? The U.S. effort, the second convoy in as many days, comes amid mounting anger from Americans in Sudan who felt they were abandoned by the U.S. government and left to navigate the complicated and dangerous situation on their own. Mr. Poopy Butthole, fake news. I don't like Tide Pods. I like other types of detergent pods. The deadly violence between the Sudanese armed forces and the Rapid Support Force paramilitary group that broke out earlier this month, or broke out in earlier months. If I seem like I'm stupid while reading, it's probably because half of these guys don't know how to fucking write. Can't afford Tide Pods. Ah, fuck! No. Fuck! Hello, chat. That's great. Can't afford Tide Pods, so you settle for Mini Mart bargain brand, huh? Fucking roasted. I'm getting skewered by the chat. Lovely. So the paramilitary group that broke out, I guess, months earlier this month or months earlier, has left hundreds dead, including 2 Americans and those wounded and thousands wounded. The country remains at risk of humanitarian disaster as those still trapped in their homes face shortages of food, water, medicine, and electricity. Despite a number of nations evacuating their citizens, the U.S. government had maintained for more than a week that the conditions were not conducive to civilian evacuation. All U.S. government personnel were evacuated in a military operation last weekend. Wait a minute. They can get their fucking bitch-ass government brand bitches out of Sudan, but they can't think to get the fucking citizens out of there? The people that they're obligated to protect? But Miller said in his statement Sunday that the U.S. has now facilitated the departure of nearly 1,000 U.S. citizens from Sudan. With cooperation from global allies, departure options for U.S. citizens have included seats on partner country flights, partner country and international organized convoys, U.S. government organized convoys, and departure via sea as well, he added. But Miller said in a statement, the U.S. government's organization and protection of the convoys has involved military surveillance, coordination with other nations on flights and convoys, and continued diplomatic outreach to U.S. citizens in Sudan, Miller said, adding that there are fewer than 5,000 U.S. citizens who have sought guidance from the government. Look, I'm no idiot, but I would think that the military branch would at least care a little bit more than the home policing. I don't know, just a little thought. After American and Saudi mediation, the Sudan armed forces agreed to extend a humanitarian ceasefire. Hey, Graham. Agreed to extend a humanitarian ceasefire in Sudan for another 72 hours starting midnight Monday morning. Earlier on Sunday, Sudan's paramilitary rapid support forces also agreed on extending the truce for 3 days, starting at Monday night local time. Midnight Monday local time. When the fighting will end in Sudan is unclear. Both sides claim control over key sites, and fighting has been reported in places far from the capital, Khartoum. While various officials and non-official estimates place the Sudanese armed forces to around 210,000 to 220,000, the paramilitary forces are believed to number approximately 70,000, but are better trained and better equipped. Story's been updated. I know about Ruby Ridge and I know about Waco. I will never forget. There was an article around here that I was trying to read. Alright, yeah, here's one of them. Fuck! Bellator MMA veteran Joe Schilling granted immunity from 2021 bar altercation. Did the guy die? What the hell happened there? Schilling was involved in an altercation with the bar patron named Justin Bulba in June 2021, which ended it with the Bellator MMA and Glory kickboxing veteran knocking out the man at a bar in Fort Lauderdale. Balboa filed a civil lawsuit against Schilling for battery after being hospitalized with a head injury. Alright, so he's not dead. After widely distributed video showed the bar altercation, Schilling claimed the man he hit provoked him with threatening gestures after using racial slurs towards a bar employee. Nearly 2 years after the event, Schilling's actions have been declared as an act of self-defense by Broward County Circuit Court Judge Fabian E. Fenstock. Holy shit, that's a name. Stitch 'em Up was justified to use the force necessary to neutralize the threat according to Florida stand your ground law. The 39-year-old Schilling expressed happiness on his social media account, stating, "He refused to be bullied by anybody." I don't know, man. I would think that a kickboxing veteran and a Bellator, is that a rank? Do you have to earn that rank? I'm not saying it's not justified, but I mean, he kind of makes it seem like he was like a little guy that was getting harassed by a big guy. But like, he was very clearly the big guy that took out a little guy. I'm not saying he's not right, but it's like, damn, dude. I don't know, maybe just like a leg sweep, maybe? I don't know, I don't think like... Of course, I'm talking about... I've seen the video, I've watched the video, but I've not actually heard or seen... Like, I've seen how it kind of transpired, but I didn't actually see or hear what was being said. So I guess I should probably do that right now, you know, to expand the content just a little bit. Bellator is an organization. Oh, okay. So I'll find the video itself. YouTube. Ba-da-da. Why is Bronca making that face? Why is Bronca making that face? Joe Schilling bar fight. Alright, so since it's a short... Alright, yeah, okay, cool. Can I watch? Alright, fuck. Is it going to allow me to watch it? Or give me an option to say yes or no? Fucking hell. Right. Did I?
Fighter faced charges for...
Alright, time to skip this whole, like... Alright.
As seen on cell phone footage. Cell phone footage.
Oh. I mean, he got laid out like a motherfucker. But like, my initial viewing of that, it looked like the guy, the fighter, bumped him. He said something hostile, turned around, and then punched him. I don't know, man. It probably applies to talk shit, get hit, but I mean, like, I would just walk away. I'm like, oh, well, it's my bad, I guess. I don't know the rest of it, but, you know, I don't know what happened before or really what happens after that, because, well, I guess I know what happens after that. He went to a hospital and got his head checked out for that fucking skull damage. For the last 2 years, my name and character has been disparaged in the media. It seems like Seemed like everyone loves the narrative that a professional fighter just beats up some innocent person, which was so not the case. Most people told me to just settle it, pay him off, as that would be easier. I don't like bullies and I refuse to be bullied by anyone. The ambulance chasing crumb bum of a lawyer he hired threatened to ruin me financially, and well, the only person he financially ruined was his client. I just hope that all of the news outlets that are so quick to post clickbait articles assassinating my character have the same energy now that the truth is out. Justin Balboa is and will always be a fucking loser. In his career, Schilling piled up a 23-9 professional kickboxing record and a 4-6 record in mixed martial arts. Among other accomplishments, Schilling won the Glory Kickbox Middleweight tournament in 2013. As a guy who's obviously been bullied before, I get not standing up to bullies. But I'm a little mixed on that. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I think it worked out in his favor, and I think it's proper that it did, but I don't know, man. Not being able to hear what happened, unless the video just didn't allow for the audio in the video. I mean, it kind of looks like he could have just walked away. I don't know. But it's outstanding that the little guy got fucked so hard. I'm very apparently mixed on that. I don't know how to feel. Did I read this? Okay, I have not. I guess these are just footnotes of the overall article. But DOJ sues Tennessee alleging it discriminates against transgender youth with new law. The Department of Justice is suing Tennessee for allegedly discriminating against transgender youth with the new state law banning the use of puberty blockers, hormones, and other medical procedures that affirm a child's gender identity. The DOJ asked the U.S. District Court of Middle Tennessee on Wednesday to declare the law violates the Equal Protections Clause of the United States Constitution and to prohibit the state authorities from implementing the statute. Tennessee law is set to take effect July 1st. No person should be denied access to necessary medical care just because of their transgender status, said Assistant Attorney General Kristen Clark of the DOJ's Civil Rights Division. Necessary medical care. What part of these things are necessary, though? It's not like if someone identifies as trans, they're not allowed to get heart surgery that would save their lives. It's just denying an elective procedure. The right to consider your health and medical approved treatment options with your family and doctors is a right everybody should have, including transgender children who are especially vulnerable to serious risks of depression, anxiety, and suicide. Fuck. Maybe you should stop inducing it with the procedures. The lawsuit originally was filed April 20 by parents of transgender children in Tennessee who are undergoing gender-affirming care, or in other terms, conversion therapy. The DOJ joined that action. Tennessee Attorney General John Scrimeti, and Health Commissioner Ralph Alvarado must respond to the suit by May 8th. That's in 7 days. Tennessee, DOJ attorney said in a court filing that the law clearly targets transgender minors by banning medical procedures to treat gender dysphoria while allowing the same treatment for conditions such as congenital defects, physical injury, and delayed or early puberty in children who identify with their biological sex. Scrotometti. Sounds about right. I don't know. I think Scrotometti might be on our side on this one. This is what that's when he has to reply, and if he's going to oppose it, then he's Scrotometti. If he's for it, Scrotometti. Under Tennessee law, a doctor could prescribe testosterone to treat delayed puberty in boys who identify with their biological sex, but would prohibit the same treatment to affirm gender identity of transgender boys, the government lawyer says. The law thus discriminates against transgender minors by unjustifiably denying them access to the form of medically necessary care to treat a diagnosis of gender dysphoria, the Justice Department lawyer wrote in a court filing. Can the gender dysphoria cause chemical harm inside of the body, though? Can it cause uncontrolled pain for somebody who does not get... Is it a balancing of the chemicals inside the body that will create a homeostasis, or is it just a way to subvert the biological destiny of an individual just because they feel like there's a little bit of conflict? It's not medically necessary. It won't kill a person. Everyone gets depressed. Everyone has anxiety. I remember being anxious about school projects when I was still in high school. That doesn't mean I need to change into a woman now. The law forces doctors to choose between withholding necessary medical care for transgender kids or facing a $25,000 penalty from the state, according to the Justice Department. The 17 Republican-led states have laws that ban gender-affirming care for transgender children, according to the Human Rights Campaign, a nonprofit that advocates for LGBTQ rights. Those states are Alabama, Arizona, Arkansas, Florida, Georgia, Idaho, Indiana, Iowa, Kentucky, Mississippi, Missouri, North Dakota, South Dakota, Tennessee, Texas, Utah, and West Virginia. Courts have blocked the laws in Alabama, Arkansas, and Texas. Nearly 30% of transgender children live in states that have banned gender-affirming care, according to the Humanitarian Rights Campaign. More than 300,000 high school-age kids are transgender and may need gender-affirming care, according to the organization. They don't need, they want. The DOJ's intervention in the Tennessee case is the latest effort by the federal government to force transgender rights under the 14th Amendment to the Constitution, which contains the Equal Protection Clause. The Biden administration last year sent a letter to State's Attorney General underscoring federal protections for transgender youth. In April 2022, the DOJ intervened in a case challenging an Alabama law banning gender-affirming care. A court blocked that law from going into effect. Man, the DOJ really is just wanting to destroy our children, aren't they? To a lot of this, I have to ask, what is the difference between gender-affirming care and conversion therapy? There can't be a difference. They're the same thing. Just one's the favorable thing for today. Oh yeah, I forgot to do this a little earlier. However, my show, I started late. I'm so sorry. Trans heterosexual affirmation. The Dragon's Treasure, a haven for anime and tea lovers. If anybody's watching right now, anybody who watches in the future, get some Dragon's Treasure. It's some very good tea. I'm actually waiting for my order of Magic Girl Venus and Sebastian Morning Roll Grey. And I think I'll get some more Iroh's tea later. However, it's some very good tea. And guess what? It's not only good tea, you can save 10% off if you use code Layman at checkout. Code Layman at checkout. It's at the bottom left of the screen. It's very easy to find. Just make sure you use that code. You get 10% off your purchase. You can get everything. The tea products, the Ingenuity strainer, electric utility kettle. It's in the name. Holy shit. Become a member. Get the butterscotch tea. It's a holiday tea. Or you can just get the vanilla cream. I think it's black tea. Yeah, black tea with orange peels, blue cornflower, natural vanilla flavor, natural bergamot flavor, and natural cream flavor. Some good fucking shit. I can guarantee it. I'll even do this about it. Oh. Oh. Hold up. See, that's the tea ad. Code Layman at dragonstreasure.com to get 10% off. That's all. That's all for the ad. I don't. Ooh, hold on. I gotta share this. This is. I guess these are reviews for Nick's law firm. One on the left 2 weeks ago. It's very funny. It's very cool. The one on the right. Hire Nick to get you off. If you want to get off, Nick is the guy. Is the guy to get you off. He gets men off all the time. No one's better at getting guys off. Ooh, ha ha ha. Fantastic. Where did it go? Where did it go? All right. So, the Iowa child labor laws. Lawmakers in Iowa Senate passed a controversial bill Tuesday that would allow minors to work longer hours and work in currently banned roles like serving alcohol at restaurants, the Des Moines Register reported. Support of the bill, mainly Republicans, said it would give children valuable opportunities to work and get paid, whereas opponents, largely Democrats, said it would harm children. Although 2 Republicans defied their party and voted against the bill with the Democrats, the measure still passed 32-17 in the GOP-controlled Senate. The bill requires approval from the Republican-controlled House and from Republican Governor Kim Reynolds to become law. The bill would allow kids under 16 to work up to 6 hours a day, which is two more hours than currently allowed for that age group. It would also allow 16 to 17-year-olds to serve alcohol at restaurants with written permission from their parents or guardians. Ultimately, parents and kids will decide if they want to work or not. Reynolds has said favorably about the bill. It teaches the kids a lot, and if they have the time to do it and they want to earn some money, some additional money, I don't think we should discourage that. The U.S. Department of Labor's top lawyer, Seema Nanda, disagreed, saying it is irresponsible for states to consider loosening child labor protections. Democrats and labor unions echoed that sentiment, saying that the bill would increase the chance of workplace accidents and injuries among youth. But with the experience, you could also help teach your kids how to negotiate their contracts in some way. Also, in part, how to stand up for themselves from authority. Like, if a boss is just going to try to bully them around, this could also help show them the realities of working and how to stand up for yourself. The Democrats and the labor unions echoed that sentiment. The bill would increase the chance of workplace. All right, yeah. The Biden administration this month urged U.S. companies to make sure that they aren't illegally hiring kids or children to perform the dangerous job. After an investigation found more than 100 kids working overnight, handling hazardous equipment like skull splitters and bone saws for a company that cleans slaughterhouses across the country. The Labor Department says it has more than 600 child labor investigations underway, and officials are concerned about the exploitation of children, particularly migrants who may not even have parents in the United States. Then just don't hire the migrants. They're child migrants. It's as simple as that. Or rather, make it unlawful for that aspect. So yeah, that's the law. I only really got into this because I got into an argument with someone somewhere about, I don't know, constitutional amendments. And then I mentioned something about just don't do it to kids, or don't care about abortion or transgender policies, just don't do it to kids. That led to this. And so this is how I learned about Florida or Iowa. The underscore stand out better in light mode. Damn it. I'm not going to go through the whole thing. I'm just going to go through like the 14 to 15-year-old work permitted and not work permitted sections of it. Because that's where I was focused on. So, a minute to read as follows. Work activities not permitted for under 14-year-olds. No person under 14 years of age shall be employed or permitted to work with or without compensation in any work activity. Any migratory laborer 12 to 14 years of age may not work prior to or during school. Oh. So it takes away, it adds a little bit more protection actually. Permitted work under 16 permitted work occupations. No person under 16 years of age shall be employed or permitted to work with or without compensation in any work activity during regular school hours, except the following work activities. Those persons legally out of school if such status is verified by the submission of written proof to the director. Those persons working in a supervised school work program. Those persons between the ages of 14 to 16 enrolled in school on a part-time basis that are required to work as a part of their school training. And that's it. So 14-year-old work permitted activities, or permitted work activities. Persons 14 years of age shall be employed or permitted to work in the following occupation work activities: retail, food services, gasoline and gasoline services establishments, official and clerical work, including operations of office machines, cashiering, selling, modeling, artwork, working in advertising department, window trimming, and comparative shopping. Price marking, tagging, and tagging by hand or by machine, assembling orders, packing and shelving, bagging and carrying out customers' orders, errand and delivery work by foot, bicycle, and public transportation, cleanup work including the use of vacuum cleaners and floor waxers and maintenance of grounds, kitchen work, and other work involved in preparing and serving food and beverages, including the cleaning using kitchen cleaning products with required personal protective equipment, operation of machines and devices used in the performance of such work, including but not limited to this is the funniest part to me. An underline means they added it, which means a 14 and 15-year-old before was able to do all this work, or was able to do preparing food, serving food and beverages, including the operation of machines and devices used in performances of such work, and did not include microwaves. 14-year-olds are now legally allowed to use microwaves in cooking environments, in kitchen work. Oh. Dishwashers, toasters, dumbwaiters, popcorn poppers, milkshake blenders, and coffee grinders. So basically they're allowed to also dispense gas, oil, courtesy service, car cleaning, washing, and polishing. They're not allowed to work. They're allowed to work momentarily in like a freezer for like a second, and meat coolers. They're also not allowed to do. They're only really allowed to do like, yeah, the gasoline, oil, and whatnot. They're not allowed to do manufacturing stuff, mining work, and processing stuff like meat plants and rendering places. I gotta breeze through this real quick because I want to get to that Florida one. And I don't know really what so I'm done with this. I'm not talking about this anymore. I'll probably come back to it and read it in full for everybody for sake of I guess completeness. But Florida, or DeSantis, has me fucking curious and confused. So committee substitute for Senate Bill number 405. 405 is apparently a bill that was supposed to is an act that relates to the death penalty. And the articles around it was basically because DeSantis was upset or disappointed that he could not, I guess, sign off on these the death sentence of Death Cruz or Nick Cruz, because 3 to the other 12, 3 to 9. Yeah. 3-9 voted against the death sentence for Nick Cruz. Either out of sympathy, out of personal policy, or they just didn't see the evidence. Cruz stated he was disappointed that he couldn't sign off on it and that 3 people basically stopped the process. So I guess the solution to that hello? Hold on, for some reason it's not scrolling. Oh, come on. Fuck. You gotta be kidding me. Florida Senate Bill 450. Is it just this page? This particular tab iteration is locked. Holy fuck. Alright, so once again the stricken out portions are removed and the underlined is added in. Whether sufficient aggravating factors exist, whether aggravating factors exist which outweigh the mitigating circumstances found to exist, based on the consideration of subparagraphs A and B, whether the defendant should be sentenced to life imprisonment without parole or to death. If at least 8 jurors determine that the defendant should be sentenced to death, the jury's recommendation to the court must be a sentence of death. If fewer than 8 jurors determine that the defendant should be sentenced to death, the jury's recommendation to the court must be a sentence of life imprisonment without the possibility of parole. DeSantis is being disappointed in this, and Florida pushing for this has lost their fucking minds. State power? Hello? He's supposed to be a Republican. He's supposed to be opposed to this. Or at least if you abide by the Republican idea that conservative, scaling back state power, you know, the generalized approach that seems to be touted by lots of Republicans. This is an expansion of state power. Have they lost their mind? Okay, my understanding of how the Republican Party seemingly wants to say how it works, or the principles of the Republican Party that they've stated. Well, I said Republican for one. But also, like, my understanding, I know it might be wrong, but that's just my understanding. This is kind of blowing it out of the water at this point. So just because DeSantis in Florida couldn't fucking execute Nick Cruz, they're lowering the standards for everybody. This is outrageous to my sensibilities. What in the fuck? I don't know how proper this should be. Romney, Cheney, McConnell, Graham, Crenshaw, Murkowski. Oh, I know all those names. I know all those. I don't know. I guess I should have known better to... Look, I know that those are conservatives, and I know I don't like those guys, and that they don't... They're called rhinos, though. Many people regard to those guys as rhinos, not Republicans. Yeah, and they need to get put out of the party. God, I can only hope. DeSantis should have vetoed this. I can't imagine how this would backfire. There's no way. There's no way that a lot of cases... Listen. I'm not a sweet summer child, you fuck. Look, I just don't know DeSantis, and he's just kind of starting to pop up, so, you know, I don't actually know much about the guy or his policies. All I know is that he's kicking Disney's ass, and that's about it. So, the death sentence is now 8 to 12. You say Cook, former federal prosecutor. You said that, yeah? I said for the former federal prosecutor portion. God. There needs to be a quick pivot on this. The death sentence should not be a majority vote. It needs to be unanimous. If the state is going to kill people, there needs to be 100% unanimity on the view. Ugh. I hope this doesn't come back and kick DeSantis' ass. He's either going to need to start communicating or what's it? Yeah, communicating sentences, granting clemency, or what's it? Fuck. Pardoning. If he commuting, granting some level of clemency or pardoning people, he's gonna probably have to do a lot of that, because If people get caught in the crossfire of people he didn't anticipate would land in this, he's got his hands full if he doesn't want the ramifications going, hey, why did you loosen the standards to let the state kill us, DeSantis? He just put a whole lot of work on Gosney's plate, too. Well, people can't agree. The non-unanimity is a decision, not whether the guy is guilty. Sure, a guy can be guilty. 12 people can roll favorably to make someone guilty. But how many times has the state been wrong? How many times has the state basically bulldozed the person into being guilty? Or pleading guilty. Mind you, Nick Cruz pleaded guilty. Imagine someone takes a plea on a similar, not similar, but in an equal vein of first-degree murder. And the state decides, you know what, we could probably put this guy to death. Put him on the chopping block. Alright, we're gonna go to trial. You're gonna get put to death. We need some people to agree. False convictions have gone through. And I would rather every criminal not be put to death than an innocent person be put to death. I know it's a cliche, and I know it's stereotypical. But you know, I'd rather guilty people walk free so that innocent people walk free under the same standard, then guilty people go away and so do innocent people go away. I'm not a big fan of this. But yeah. That's a frustrating thing. Just because they couldn't kill Nick Cruz. Blackstone's formulation. It's better that 10 guilty person escape than one innocent person suffer. We're likely the only developed country with capital punishment. There's value in killing somebody, but there's not value in lowering a standard in which you could apply the measure of the government to kill somebody. It's the government doing this, by the way. I get it. They need to have some ability to do the thing if they want to. If they have the power, they should be able to execute it, and there needs to be a reasonable measure to execute it. But like, based on the biblical stories. Oh yeah. No, actually, I think I get it. In the story of Sodom and Gomorrah in the Bible, Lot, who was Abram's brother, who would later be Abraham. He lived in Sodom and Gomorrah, basically on his own half of a continent, or of a nation, because Abram and Lot divided the land. Is like, hey, if you want to pick one side, I'll take the other. You just have a pick. in Sodom and Gomorrah, you know, the whole sodomy and whatnot, lust and sin and whatnot. Jim telling later, one innocent person was enough for the Lord to spare the city. Yes, it was. Take care, man. No, Abram negotiated with God, basically. God told Abram, I will strike down Sodom and Gomorrah from the land to cleanse the sinners. And Abram requested 100, like if 100 people be good, or something to that number, that he would spare the city. And then he said yes. And then Abram prayed for 10 people to some point, either started off or got to 10 people. Then asked that if 5 people be innocent, that he would, and he said yes. And that if one person was innocent, that he would not do it. And the angels came down to watch the city and meet with Lot, the brother of Abram. And then found that they were not innocent. There was almost no innocent person outside of Lot and his family, but given a warning to not look back lest they fall as well. And that is how we had the nation of Moab and Ammon. The Ammonites and the Moabites. I didn't know that the Blackstone formulation was based off Sodom and Gomorrah. Thanks, man. That's actually something that is interesting. Hot damn. But yeah, that's basically the stream for today. I gotta wrap up and get going to start making my food, because I only have a very limited time to make my food, and I want to make sure it's done sooner than later. So yeah, thank you for everybody who came to watch. And before I wrap this entirely up, go to Dragon's Treasure for anime themed tea. Very good stuff. Use code Layman at checkout for 10% off. Much appreciated. Hopefully anybody who likes the tea will enjoy it. I certainly can't wait to get my tea as well from the Tea Man. Remember, code Layman at checkout for 10% off. And I am so sorry for the late start. I wanted to also update people on some news. And so I'm getting something to come in tomorrow, either later today or tomorrow, that I'm going to start doing a private production for, or a video production for. And hopefully I'll be able to try out and test out my skills at video editing. So anyway, with that, hopefully I'll find some more topics for tomorrow, or I'll just do a live reading of the thing that I've got and then edit that down rather than doing a recorded segment. I'll probably try to do a standing stream tomorrow, depending on if my equipment would even allow for it. But yes, thank you for coming. Thank you for watching. If you liked what you saw, follow on YouTube, Rumble, Twitter, and Locals. My Locals page is legallayman.locals.com. If you want to support me, that's the place to do it. It's very much appreciated. Thank you for anybody who comes to watch later, who came to watch today or while I was live. Thank you for anybody who just popped in for a little bit. I forgot to introduce myself at the start of the stream. I'm Jacob Davidson, and I'm in North Texas. And yeah. Thank you very much. Hopefully you have a fantastic day, and I'll see you guys later.